The rain was relentless, a cold, miserable downpour that mirrored the dread in my stomach. The phone buzzed on the passenger seat, the caller ID flashing Dr. Miller. I knew why he was calling. My little brother, Liam, had crashed his car. He was in bad shape, and Dr. Miller was his attending physician. I looked at the GPS on my phone. The hospital was just a few miles away. I could be there in 10 minutes. But I didn't want to go. I had a party to get to. Tonight was the night I'd finally get to meet Marcus Thorne, a music producer whose connections could launch my singing career. Everything I'd worked for, every late-night practice session, every rejection slip, had led to this moment. Liam's accident was a complication I didn't have time for. I silenced the phone, the screen still glowing with Dr. Miller's name. Liam was always a burden, a reminder of everything I wanted to escape. Our parents adored him, the golden boy who could do no wrong. While I was busting my ass working 2 jobs to pay for my vocal coach, he was getting a new car and a free ride through college. The resentment festered in me like a poison. He called me every day, wanting to talk, wanting me to come home. I always made an excuse. Now, he needed me, and I was choosing a party over him. I knew it was selfish, but my dreams felt more real than his pain. The car radio played a pop song, the beat thumping in rhythm with my heartbeat. I made a turn, the opposite direction from the hospital. The rain seemed to get heavier, blurring the city lights into streaks of color. I told myself it was fine. He'd be fine. He always was. The bass from the music vibrated through the floorboards, a raw, powerful energy that washed away the guilt. The house was an architectural marvel of glass and steel in the Hollywood Hills, and the air was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and alcohol. I spotted Marcus by the bar, his silver hair and sharp suit making him stand out from the crowd. I walked toward him, my mind rehearsing the lines I had practiced for weeks. "Hi, Marcus. I'm Chloe," I said, my voice smooth and confident. He smiled, and I felt a jolt of exhilaration. This was it. I was finally here. The phone in my purse buzzed again, but I ignored it. Liam and his drama could wait. Marcus was a gateway to a world of fame and fortune, a world where I wouldn't be just Chloe from the suburbs anymore. We talked for hours about music, my aspirations, and his work. He seemed genuinely impressed with my demo. He even mentioned setting up a meeting at his studio next week. I felt a wave of triumph so strong it almost made me dizzy. This was the validation I had craved my entire life. I was a talented singer, and a powerful man in the industry was finally taking me seriously. I saw a girl looking at me from across the room, her expression full of admiration. I felt a surge of pride. This was what I had sacrificed for. My phone buzzed one last time, the sound a faint ghost in the noisy room. I glanced at it. A text from my dad. "Chloe, where are you? Liam is asking for you." I quickly locked my phone and shoved it back into my purse. "Not tonight, Dad. I'm busy." I woke up the next morning to the blinding California sun and the bitter taste of regret. The text messages from my dad were a flood of worried updates, each one more urgent than the last. "He's in critical condition. The doctors are concerned. He's been asking for you." I sat on the edge of the bed, the reality of what I had done finally setting in. I had chosen a party over my dying brother. The euphoria from the night before was gone, replaced by a cold, sharp feeling of shame. I called the hospital, my hands shaking. A nurse answered, her voice tired and monotone. "He's stable," she said, "but he's in a medically induced coma. He's still asking for his sister." A tear slipped down my cheek. He was still asking for me, even now. The guilt was a physical weight on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I went through the day in a haze, the studio meeting with Marcus feeling distant and unreal. All I could think about was Liam, lying in that hospital bed, a web of tubes and wires keeping him alive. I remembered the last time I saw him, 2 weeks ago, at my parents' house. He had hugged me, his embrace warm and genuine, and said, "I miss you, Chloe." I had just patted his back awkwardly and said I had to go. I felt a pang of deep sorrow, a feeling so strong it made my knees buckle. My phone buzzed. It was Marcus, asking me to confirm our meeting. I looked at the screen, then at the empty road outside my window. I knew what I had to do. The hospital was waiting. The hospital waiting room was a sterile, unforgiving place, filled with the quiet desperation of other families. My parents were there, their faces etched with exhaustion and worry. My mother didn't even look at me when I walked in, her gaze fixed on the double doors of the intensive care unit. "He's still asking for you," she whispered, her voice a hollow echo of the angry texts she had sent me. My father just shook his head, a silent condemnation that cut deeper than any words. I sat down next to them, the silence between us heavier than the atmosphere of the room. I wanted to apologize, to explain, but the words wouldn't come. What could I say? That a party was more important than my brother's life? The irony was brutal. I had spent so long running away from my family, trying to build a new life, only to find myself right back where I started, in a sterile room, with my family looking at me with a mix of pity and disgust. Hours passed, each one a slow, agonizing crawl. I looked at my parents, their hands clasped together, their strength a quiet testament to their love for Liam. I felt a profound sense of loneliness, an isolation I had never felt before. I had pushed everyone away, and now I was paying the price. Dr. Miller finally came out, his face grave. "He's out of the coma," he said, and I felt a wave of relief so intense I almost cried. But the prognosis is not good. He has significant brain damage. He may never fully recover. My mother collapsed into my father's arms, her sobs filling the quiet room. My heart shattered into a million pieces. The beautiful, vibrant boy I had ignored for so long was gone, and I was the reason. The guilt was no longer just a feeling, it was a living, breathing monster inside me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any part of this story. Months turned into a blur of hospital visits and physical therapy sessions. Liam was a ghost of his former self, his movements slow and deliberate, his speech a halting struggle. He didn't remember the party, or that I hadn't come to see him. All he remembered was a blank space, the last few hours before the crash completely erased from his memory. He looked at me with the same trusting, adoring eyes, as if I had always been there for him. The innocence in his gaze was a constant, excruciating reminder of my cruelty. I tried to help with his physical therapy, but my hands felt clumsy and useless. I watched my parents tend to him with a patience and love I couldn't muster. I had spent my life seeking fame, but all I found was this quiet room filled with pain and regret. The studio meeting with Marcus never happened. I couldn't bring myself to call him. The singing, the music, the dreams, they all felt shallow and meaningless now. I had a demo in my car, a perfect, polished piece of art. But every time I listened to it, all I heard was a desperate, hollow sound. The girl in the song was a stranger, someone who was willing to step over her own brother to get what she wanted. I spent my days watching my brother relearn how to walk, how to speak, how to live. His progress was slow, a testament to his resilience. I saw the way he struggled, the way he would get frustrated and angry. I saw my parents' quiet tears. My career was gone, my dreams were shattered, but a part of me didn't care. The only thing that mattered was seeing him get better. One day, while I was helping him with his physical therapy, Liam spoke my name clearly for the first time in months. "Chloe," he said, his voice a soft, beautiful melody that was so familiar and yet so foreign. I froze, my heart in my throat. I looked at him, and for a fleeting moment, I saw the old Liam, the boy who used to sing with me in the car on our long drives to the beach, his laugh echoing in my ears. He smiled, a slow, beautiful smile that reached his eyes. "I remember now," he said, and my stomach dropped, a cold, sickening sensation. The words were a sharp, painful knife to my heart. "I remember calling you that night. You didn't answer." The simple statement was more devastating than any accusation. He wasn't angry. He was just sad. The truth hung in the air between us, a heavy, unshakable weight that made the room feel small and suffocating. I wanted to explain, to apologize, but I knew my words would be empty. He looked at me, his eyes full of a pain that I had put there. "Why didn't you come, Chloe?" he asked, his voice soft, almost a whisper. I looked away, a fresh wave of tears blinding me. I couldn't lie to him. I couldn't tell him I was at a party, that my selfish ambitions had outweighed his life. "I'm so sorry, Liam," I choked out, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. "I'm so sorry." He reached out and put a hand on my arm, his touch gentle, a gesture of grace I didn't deserve. "It's okay," he said. I just wish you had been there." His honesty was a mirror to my own selfishness, a stark reflection of the person I had become. The girl who had chosen a party over her own brother. I knew then that I had to change. I had to become the sister he deserved. From that day forward, I started spending every waking moment with Liam. I read to him, helped him with his exercises, and even started singing to him, the songs a soft, melodic comfort in the quiet of his room. The girl who used to dream of fame and fortune was gone, replaced by a woman who found joy in the simple act of holding her brother's hand. Liam was still slow to recover, but his progress was steady. He was relearning how to live, and I was relearning how to love. We were a team now, a small, quiet island in the middle of a world of pain and uncertainty. My parents were there for us, their quiet support a constant source of strength. They never brought up the past, but I could see the forgiveness in their eyes. They had given me a second chance, and I was determined not to waste it. One day, while we were in the hospital garden, Liam looked at me, his eyes full of a new kind of light, a light of acceptance and peace. "You're a good sister, Chloe," he said, and a tear slipped down my cheek. I had never felt so much shame and so much pride all at once. I was a good sister now, but I had a long way to go to make up for the person I had been. My phone buzzed, a text from Marcus Thorne. He had heard about the accident and was offering his condolences. "Let's meet up sometime when you're ready," he wrote. I looked at the text, then at my brother, who was smiling at a butterfly flitting by. The allure of fame and fortune was gone. I had everything I needed right here. I smiled back at my brother, a genuine, beautiful smile that I hadn't felt in a long, long time. I was home. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. 2 years passed, a slow, steady march of small victories and hard-won progress. Liam was still in therapy, but his improvement was nothing short of remarkable. The cane that once propped him up was gone, replaced by a confident, if a little unsteady gait. His speech, once a painful, slurred struggle, was now clear and expressive. He was a beacon of hope for so many others who had suffered similar injuries, his story a living testament to the power of resilience. I had started a nonprofit organization called Liam's Wings, dedicated to helping other families with brain injury rehabilitation. We raised money for therapy and provided support groups for families struggling to cope. My days were no longer filled with rehearsals and auditions. Instead, they were filled with meetings with doctors, therapists, and families whose pain I understood all too well. I was finally using my voice for a good cause, and the feeling was more fulfilling than any concert hall filled with cheering fans could ever be. My parents were so proud of me. My father, who had once looked at me with silent contempt, now looked at me with love and respect. My mother, who had once been so distant, was now my closest confidant. We were a family again, a real family. The anger and resentment had faded, replaced by a quiet, unspoken understanding. Liam even helped me with the nonprofit. He would talk to other patients, sharing his story and giving them hope. I watched him one day, his face glowing with a sense of purpose, and I knew that I had made the right choice. My old life, the life I had so desperately wanted, was a distant memory. I had lost a chance at fame, but I had gained something far more precious. My family, my brother, and my humanity. The day Liam was finally discharged from the hospital was a day of pure, unadulterated joy. The doctors were all smiles as they shook his hand, their congratulations a soundtrack to the relief that flooded the room. We threw a big party for him in our backyard, a celebration not just of his recovery, but of his triumph over adversity. The air was filled with the aroma of barbecue and the sound of laughter, a stark contrast to the sterile silence of the hospital. Friends and family gathered around him, a true testament to the network of love that had surrounded him throughout his ordeal. When it was time for toasts, Liam stood up, his words slow and a little shaky, but full of emotion. He held a glass of sparkling cider in his hand. "I want to thank my sister, Chloe," he said, and my heart swelled with pride, a powerful, almost painful emotion. "She saved my life. She gave me a reason to fight." A tear slipped down my cheek, but it was a tear of profound gratitude, not of sorrow. I hadn't saved him. He had saved me. He had given me a purpose, a reason to be a better person. I had spent my life chasing a dream that would have left me empty, a celebrity without a soul. But he had given me a dream that was full of love and purpose. I looked around the room, at my parents, at our friends, at the doctors and nurses who had come to celebrate with us. I saw the love and support in their eyes, and I knew that I was finally home. I had found my voice, not on a stage, but in a hospital room, in a support group, in the quiet moments of my brother's rehabilitation. I had found my purpose, not in a record deal, but in the simple act of helping others. My life was not what I had planned, but it was better than I could have ever imagined. It was a life of purpose, of love, and of family. One evening, a few months after Liam came home, I was sitting on the porch swing, the rhythmic creak, a gentle lullaby in the twilight. A soft breeze rustled the leaves of the old oak tree in our front yard, and the crickets began their nightly chorus. In the distance, the city lights twinkled like scattered diamonds, a silent reminder of the world I had once been so desperate to conquer. He came and sat next to me, his hand finding mine and resting there, a silent anchor. We didn't need to talk. The silence between us was a quiet comfort, a testament to an unbreakable bond forged in pain and sealed with forgiveness. It was the kind of quiet that spoke volumes, a stillness that had replaced the frantic noise of my old life. After a few moments, he looked at me, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You're a great sister," he said, his voice a soft, honest melody. I looked at him, my eyes welling up with tears that had been held back for too long. His words were a start, a gentle balm for a soul that had been wounded by its own choices. They didn't erase the past, but they made it bearable. I had a long way to go to forgive myself, to truly let go of the guilt, but his simple statement was a profound gift. It was a new beginning, a clean slate. He squeezed my hand. "I'm glad you chose to be here," he said, his voice a soft, almost imperceptible whisper on the wind. "I'm glad you chose me." His words were a mirror, a reflection of the girl I had been, and the woman I had become. I had lost my way, blinded by ambition and ego. I had made selfish choices, and in doing so, I had hurt the people who loved me most. But I had found my way back. I had found my way back to my family, to my purpose, and to myself. The path of redemption was long and difficult, and I knew that there would be days of doubt and shame. But I also knew that I wouldn't walk it alone. I had my family, my brother, and the beautiful, broken life we were building together. And that was more than enough. The moon rose, a soft, gentle light in the night sky, a symbol of hope and second chances, of the forgiveness I had been so desperately seeking. I smiled, a genuine, beautiful smile that I hadn't felt in a long, long time. I was home. I was whole. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter, a final sign that I was exactly where I was meant to be. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories.